Welcome to today's video on the national security policy shift and what it means for people whose immigration status has already been approved. We will translate policy alerts into practical steps you can take now. First, let's preview what we'll cover so you can follow along smoothly. Here's our roadmap. We'll begin with the policy alert context, then explain retrospective review and who might be affected. Next, we'll clarify the legal stability of asylum and when revocation can occur. After that, we'll give a concrete action plan, a document checklist, and a timeline context. We'll then cover the pipeline debate, including duration of status. We'll identify red flags and wrap with key takeaways. Along the way, we'll test your knowledge with 2 short quizzes. Now, let's unpack the current policy shift. A recent governmental policy alert indicates a processing pause and heightened scrutiny for some nationalities. This has generated understandable anxiety within communities that include permanent residents and asylees. The central concern is whether already approved benefits are at risk. The short answer is, your status remains valid unless and until it is formally revoked. However, the alert signals possible reopening of certain closed cases. Next, we'll detail what retrospective review actually means. Retrospective review is a policy mechanism that allows agencies to re-examine certain cases that were approved during a defined historical window. Public memos, like PM 602-0192, describe how a look-back can be applied to address perceived vetting gaps. If a case is selected, outcomes can include no further action, a new evidence request, an interview, or issuance of an NTA in extreme scenarios. This is not an automatic re-adjudication of all past approvals. It is targeted and constrained by agency resources. Next, let's discuss the legal stability of asylum and how that interacts with review policies. This flowchart maps your actions after receiving official communication. First, you identify the document and its deadlines. Next, you consult a qualified immigration attorney. Then, you gather relevant documents. If it's an RFE, you prepare a timely and organized submission. If it's an interview, you prepare and attend, preferably with counsel. Outcomes can include no action, additional requests, or initiation of proceedings. Throughout, track deadlines, keep copies, and follow your attorney's guidance. Now, let's examine the legal stability of asylum status. Asylum, once granted, remains in force unless there is a formal revocation based on established legal grounds such as fraud, significant changes affecting eligibility, or certain criminal or security issues. A policy alert alone does not cancel status. However, the alert signals that some past cases might be re-examined. Given the uncertainties, it is essential to monitor your mail, evaluate any notice promptly with an attorney, and maintain comprehensive documentation. Next, we'll compare unhelpful reactions with practical steps you can take. On the left, we have counterproductive responses such as assuming immediate removal, ignoring official mail, undertaking international travel without guidance, or publicizing sensitive case details. On the right, we highlight practical steps. Maintain updated addresses with relevant agencies, secure legal representation, organize a comprehensive evidence file, and track deadlines alongside understanding your rights. With mindset aligned, let's move into a concrete, step-by-step action plan. Your action plan is as follows. First, preserve every notice and calendar deadlines. Second, contact a qualified immigration attorney immediately. Third, obtain and organize your full file, using FOIA if necessary. Fourth, build a structured evidence binder covering identity, status, residence, taxes, employment, and community ties. Fifth, draft a clear timeline of your case and travel. Sixth, tailor responses to official requests and avoid irrelevant submissions. Seventh, if an interview is scheduled, prepare thoroughly and bring required documentation. Eighth, avoid risky travel and comply strictly with all rules. Next, we'll visualize preparation strategies with a mind map. This mind map centers on preparation strategy. One branch covers legal counsel, including retention, deadline management, and overall strategy. Another emphasizes documentation, such as identification, proof of status, taxes, employment records, community letters, and travel history. A third focuses on monitoring mail, case status, and address updates. A fourth addresses risk control, including avoiding risky travel, reviewing any criminal record issues, and using discretion on social media. A fifth outlines response tactics for RFEs and interviews, with proper indexing and copies. Now let's build a concrete checklist you can use immediately. This table outlines categories of evidence and examples: identity and status proofs, residency records, tax and employment documentation, community ties, relevant security or compliance records, and travel history with a clear timeline. For each, include official documents where possible, maintain continuity over time, and use letterhead and signatures for community letters. Always consult an attorney before obtaining sensitive records. Next, we will place the current policy within a timeline context. This timeline situates events for clarity. First, in the pre-alert period, routine approvals proceeded under standard vetting. Next, on the policy alert date, agencies announced a processing pause and enhanced scrutiny. Then, a look-back window was defined, enabling retrospective reviews. Following that, pilot re-examinations initiated contact with selected cases. Finally, ongoing monitoring continues, with periodic updates and outcomes. Now, let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. Quiz time. The question is, does a policy alert automatically revoke your granted asylum or green card? The options are yes, no, only if you traveled abroad, or only if your country is on the list. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is number A. Policy alert by itself does not revoke previously granted status. Revocation requires a legal process with specific grounds and due process protections. Next, we will address the pipeline policy debate and duration of status. The pipeline debate centers on individuals who enter with temporary visas and later obtain humanitarian relief such as asylum. Duration of status can allow stays without a fixed end date, which critics see as a vulnerability. Policy responses often include targeted reviews to tighten oversight and control transitions to protected statuses. Despite these debates, your practical focus should be on compliance, documentation, and engaging qualified counsel. Next, let's visualize who might face review using a simple pie chart. This pie chart is illustrative and not based on official counts. It suggests that within a defined look-back window, a portion could be asylum approvals, another portion permanent residents from named nationalities, and the remainder other benefit holders. This is to visualize categories, not to predict individual outcomes. Now let's do a second quick quiz focused on immediate actions when you receive an official notice. Here's your second quiz. The question is, which action should you take first if you receive an RFE or an NTA? Your options are: post about it on social media for advice, wait to see if a second notice comes, immediately consult a qualified immigration attorney, or leave the U.S. immediately. You may pause the video now to consider the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section. The correct answer is to immediately consult a qualified immigration attorney. Time-sensitive responses and strategic choices are crucial, and legal counsel can guide evidence assembly and next steps. Next, let's consolidate the most important takeaways. These are the essential points. Policy alerts do not automatically revoke status. Retrospective reviews are targeted and constrained by resources. Maintain meticulous documentation and strict compliance. Keep addresses updated and monitor all communications. Retain counsel at the earliest indication of official action. Avoid risky travel and minimize public exposure of case details. Track deadlines carefully and keep indexed copies of all materials. Now, let's identify common triggers and red flags that can draw additional scrutiny. Potential triggers for additional scrutiny include material inconsistencies across filings or testimony, criminal or security check results, travel to high-risk regions without clear explanations, failure to update addresses or respond to notices, publicly available statements that contradict filings, and data mismatches from interagency information sharings. Awareness of these risk factors can guide your preparation. Before we wrap up, an important disclaimer. This presentation offers general educational information and is not legal advice. Individual circumstances vary widely, and specific legal guidance should come from a qualified immigration attorney who can assess your facts and documents. With that in mind, let's do a quick markdown style recap you can screenshot or save. Here is a succinct recap. Maintain updated addresses and closely monitor mail. Organize a clean, indexed evidence file and retain legal counsel early. Watch for deadlines, RFEs, interviews, and NTAs. Be cautious with travel and public disclosures. The key formula is preparation over panic through documentation, deadline control, and professional guidance. Finally, let's summarize and close with next steps. In closing, your approved status remains valid unless it is formally revoked. Retrospective reviews are possible but targeted, so stay vigilant rather than fearful. Consult an attorney immediately upon receiving any notice. Maintain a living evidence binder and track deadlines with precision. Avoid risky travel and ensure your records and statements are consistent. Knowledge and preparation provide meaningful control in uncertain times. To conclude, here is our final message. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for timely updates. In the comments, tell us which part worries you most and what topics you want covered next. Stay informed and prepared.